being faced with the black void of not knowing what one is to do in life, or that creative example, analogy of being faced with a blank page, white canvas, not knowing, not having slightest idea what to paint, how to proceed. These are all distinctive, let's say, signatures of Kundalini proper. Kundalini energy feels to me like a different, more intelligent and proactive quality rather than normal prana. Is it a different origin? Shakti energy? Yes, of course, and that's what we repeatedly speak to, the difference between a proper Kundalini process and heightened pranic activity. Although heightened pranic activity, or Pranotthana, is ideally what paves the way to a proper awakening of Kundalini. So in other words, two processes, although very similar in its display, should proceed one before the other. Because when greater pranic activity is in place, it facilitates purification, often sufficient enough, so when Kundalini awakening takes place, then it's literally everything unfolds in a most harmonious, desirable, and dare we say, divine manner. There's a less propensity for being, for causing havoc, for causing undesirable stresses on the neurophysiology, much less possibility for overheating the system, as is often the case, particularly in the earlier phases of Kundalini, because it's fiery in essence, in nature, not just electric, but also fiery. So, to avoid all that, therefore, the Pranotthana is a safe way forward. So first, we should facilitate greater unleash of prana, pranic activity. And once that is on the way, it will prepare the body. And then awakening of Kundalini, not necessarily not and going to be an icing on a cake, no. It still will be, if it's a proper, truly awakened Kundalini, it will present its due challenges. But we can be assured that at least one doesn't need to deal with the basics, because heightened pranic activity took care of that. And again, we spoke about it just very recently, but the main difference is, of course, is the complete and utter rewiring of synaptic connections can only take place when Kundalini is fully awakened and repeatedly ascends to the higher cortexes, which leads to that unplugging phase, and rewiring is what gives that complete and utter reorientation to who one is, what one ought to do, even if accompanied by very uncomfortable phase of kind of, in inverted commas, totally losing the plot, not knowing whether one is coming or going, where one is going, what one has in store. These are necessary phases of being faced with the white canvas. Maybe being faced with the black void of not knowing what one is to do in life, or that creative example, analogy of being faced with a blank page, white canvas, not knowing, not having slightest idea what to paint, how to proceed. These are all distinctive, let's say, signatures of Kundalini proper. And heightened pranic activity, on the other hand, is all through therapeutic in its essence. It doesn't rewire the person's orientations. It doesn't change the sense of identity. It simply prepares the ground, although the display often so similar that one would be forgiven for mixing one with the other, or mistakenly thinking that heightened pranic activity is indeed a fully ripened Kundalini.